Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Bloodstone, Four Dads 5th edition D&D game set in the Forgotten Realms. I am your Dungeon Master, 8BitPonies. I have with me all of the members of our cast. Hey guys, we're finally back as a six-some. I don't know if that's even a thing. A sextet. That's definitely a thing. Apologies for the weird, if you were just watching the pre-screen, the weird thing that happened with the
where it rolled over to 24 hours and
yeah,
basically
the
told everybody
clock.
we were streaming tomorrow. Yeah.
That's the one. Thanks, Souls. I apologize, guys. I'm still a little bit fried from being sick all weekend. If you follow the channel, you will know that we have not streamed since last Tuesday, as Ponies has been in a real rut for the last several days. I was sick from Thursday or like Wednesday night on through Monday morning, and it has been rough. I'm still in recovery mode, so if you notice a little bit of craziness in my voice, or if I have to take frequent breaks to cough, I will try to mute those whenever I can, so that you guys don't have to listen to it all night. But if I do have to take tiny breaks to catch my breath, that is why. And apologies for that, and thank you for your patience. How's it going out there, guys? Everybody doing okay besides me?
Oh, doing fantastic over here, buddy.
Doing good.
Great. Oh, I'm
Channeling
very
some
happy.
divine energy up in here.
I'm very happy that we are back. Very happy to be seeing you guys again. It was a rough road there for a few days, but yeah, we are back. We're gonna see what we can get done this week as far as streaming goes, and bring you some high quality D&D action here in just moments. I want to give a little bit of a heads up on this week's schedule. Thursday, unless things go horribly awry once again, Thursday and Saturday this week we are currently scheduled to stream. This Friday, however, there will be no stream as I have my other D&D game. If any of you guys from the other D&D game are out there that are watching, yay! It's going to be a great time. But that means there will be no stream this Friday. No Friday night fights this week. That being said, Thursdays Aram Apocalypse and Saturdays Saturday or Summoner's Saturday should be go, unless again something catastrophic happens. But none of that matters for this exact moment. Right now, we're focused on some Bloodstone. So without any further ado, we will dive back into our story. When last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, the party is preparing for the Baron Mitzvah, the grand celebration being thrown by Eldrick Oks at Oakheart to celebrate Eldrick, her son, having ascended to the barony of, or to the rank of Baron in the barony of Morov. There are a number of personalities that are supposed to be in attendance within the next 24 hours, as it is just close to midnight, I suppose, on the night before. We're somewhere in the vicinity of about 18 hours away from the beginning of that celebration. Much anticipated amongst the party, amongst the city of Heliogabalus and those in attendance, but also amongst us, the players. It's been something we've been talking about for a really long time. There's a whole lot of anticipation as to what will be in store on that historic occasion. But in preparation for that, Eldrick and Makaria have spent some time at Oakheart. Eldrick has been talking to his mother and his father's steward, Durbin Holy, to get a briefing, effectively, on all of the people who are expected to be in attendance, who they are, what they want, to whom they are loyal, and so on and so forth, so Eldrick doesn't make a fool of himself, any more so than usual, Eldrick. Whenever he is...
T-minus 3 days.
Before he, or whenever he is forced to talk to these people. Makaria is doing some arcane research on Eldrick's behalf around some paintings that were revealed to be in Eldrick Oks' possession that have some magical auras around them and seem to have some kind of arcane design within their makeup. One such painting was accidentally destroyed, and the other painting has been entrusted to Makaria to perhaps find more information as to why it appears magical and what may be hidden within, if anything. The rest of the party initially intended to just get some rest after several very harrowing days, and one in particular a harrowing evening where the party got caught up in an ambush, or at least a member of the party got caught up in an ambush in the Shadow Gap, and Alanere only barely escaped with his life. The resulting investigation put the Wardens of the White Tree, an Inquisition-like element within the military of Bloodstone, on the party's trail, and caused a very tense meeting between one Captain Leif. Nope, can't find the name. I have lost. Gerbald. Leif Gerbald. And a small cadre of his fellow members of the Order, or of the Wardens, and our party. Very tense kind of standoff at Oakhart between those individual groups, as the party was... The Wardens were very interested in Makaria, and and got somewhat short-circuited in their investigation into Makaria whenever Alanere revealed to them the reason that he was at the Shadow Gap in the first place, to meet with a secret meeting with the Queen, Christine Dragonsbane, in which during which in the ambush she may have in fact lost her life. That certainly put the Wardens back on their heels and sent them scrambling to investigate further and figure out if that did in fact happen. For his part, Alanere decided that this was a bit much and decided to retreat to his home grove in the Warrenwood, far to the northwest of Heliogabalus, to seek the comforts of home and seek answers among his druid circle. Thoros'l spent some time looking after a companion, or erstwhile companion, sometimes antagonist, one Pardic Wolfswift of Symbia, a friend, acquaintance, sometimes enemy, who was visiting, and Thoros'l thought might be in possession of some answers. So he went to go and visit Pardic at the Dusty Duchess. Sprout, still mulling over the idea of working with the undead beholder Zaxxiz, spent some time just trying to get some rest and speaking with his new companion, or servant, whatever, Muckleberry Dal Makito, and has been plagued, as have many of the members of the party, with strange, unsettling, disturbing visions. Sprout specifically, visions of dead furbolgs following him everywhere that he goes. We'll pick up tonight's session where we left off last time, at the Dusty Duchess with Thoros'l. Thoros'l had just dropped a bomb on Pardic and asked him, "Did you receive your invitation?" Intimating that perhaps Pardik had not been invited to the soiree, or perhaps didn't even know about the soiree occurring at the next sunset. Pardik's attention turns fully to Thoros'l in that moment. Party, you say? Well, it can't be much of a party if it has escaped my notice. Well, of what to what are you referring?
Seems like a lot is escaping your notice these days, Pardik. I'm afraid you might be losing your touch.
He kind of narrows his eyes a little bit at that, gives you a long, hard look, and then reaches for his mug again and gives just the barest hint of a smile, raises the mug to his lips, and takes a drink. Okay, you have my attention. You are correct. My network within this wretched city has, well, shall we say, dwindled in the previous months. It's not often that I come back here. Why would I? Once again, this city only serves as mostly disappointment. I thought perhaps that seeking adventure or seeking excitement with this newfound or newly formed adventurers guild would slake my thirst, but alas, all they seem to be interested in is courier duties, and that, well, that's, as you understand, is quite beneath someone of my obvious talents. I had just about given up on the city as a whole. Gods be praised for you, Thoros'l. Reminding me that perhaps there is something here that may be worthy of my attention. So tell me more. Tell me more about this party. And how it is that you received an invitation if I did not.
Eldrick and I go way back. I'm sure you're aware of that much.
Oh, it's Elroy's party. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I understand that there's a bit of bad blood between us. All on his end, I assure you. There's very, very little that one can do to land in my good books better than tweaking my father's nose. And he did that quite satisfactorily the last time I believe we met. If there's any sort of ill will, it is entirely on his end, I assure you. What?
Oh, I'm sure he can appreciate what you did and the reasons you did it. I mean, you were only doing your father's bidding.
That he kind of almost spits a little bit of the ale back into his mug, like a little bit of a snort. And he gives you that look again that is distaste, not anger necessarily, but let you know that he considered that a not specifically an insult, but a faux pas at the very least.
Fully intended. Fully intended.
You are relentless. Your needling has gotten considerably better than your sword work. Tell me what I have to do. If there is to be a party, even if it is that dreary, Ilmatari Elroy that's throwing it, if there is to be some sort of goings on in the city that makes its nightlife a bit less dreary, then I must be involved. Tell me, what is this? What does this friend of yours have to celebrate? What could he possibly have to celebrate?
Oh, do you truly know nothing about what's going on in the palace?
He puts
the
mug down on the table and he raises his hands. He says, I have no knowledge of what it is that you are seeking. I could perhaps share a bit of gossip, a bit of information, unfortunately unrelated, that you might find interesting. But I am new to town. I have not been here for very long, and I was as unfortunately as shocked as you were to find that the Palace District was under guard or under lock and key. And I know nothing of any dreams. All there. I've said it. All cards on the table. You have me. Well, you have me over a bit of a barrel here, my friend.
Is he? Can I get any whiff of bullshitting off of him?
Make me an insight check.
Okay. 24.
When he mentions dreams, and mentions that he knows nothing of any dreams, Carrot, tries to busy himself in the bottom of his tankard. Pardic doesn't let anything specific slip, but Carrot definitely has a reaction. It's a reaction you somewhat expected.
I'll go back to my seat across from him as I was making my way towards the exit, and I'll sit back down. Any information about either of those subjects, and I'll tell you what I know about this party, and maybe how you can get yourself in. I know that's what you're really after, right?
His knuckles are white around the outside of his tankard, and he's, as you sit down, he like visibly relaxes a bit, as though he was holding in a breath, and he kind of settles into his chair a little bit, kind of leans back, takes another drink. He says, "You didn't ask a thing about the job that I offered to you. Or would have, I suppose, if you hadn't been so quick to take your leave."
I'm not sure I'm in the market for a new job.
Oh, but this one, well, it so aptly suits your abilities. All I would require of you, for the sum of I don't know what is money to use your sort of people, 50, 100 gold, is to deliver a very simple case across town, across the bridge, over in is this what serves as slums in this city? I'm uncertain. I only know that it is considerably darker over there and considerably more drab. There's a location, an establishment, considerably dirtier than this one, considerably less tasteful. I believe it's called the White Horse. If you simply deliver this case to a fellow, I believe by the name of Zethus or something like that. He turns to Carrot. What was the man's name? Carrot kind of looks at Pardic and looks over at you, and looks back at Pardic. And it's a woman. Zethraxis is the name. Right, of course, Zethraxis, beastly name for a woman. But what can you expect in Tamara, of all places? I'm sorry, Bloodstone, of all places. Deliver this case, or deliver a case, very simple, very small, standard size, to this Zethraxis person. Save me from having to dirty my boots and the lesser segment of your beloved city. And that is all. You can almost name your price. You'd be doing me a favor, really.
No, I don't think I'll be a courier this day.
I suppose I understand. It truly is, but beneath one even as mediocre in a fight as you are. You do have some level of skill. to be sure, and even this is why I can't come back to the city again. As even your mercenaries guild can't be expected to come up with more than just simple courier work. Carrot, I think we will just leave this case. We'll leave the city. We'll leave this very evening, unless, of course, our friend here gives us a reason to stay.
Nope. I think that you've given all that you can in this. I wish you well, I guess.
He leans forward again. He says, hey, like there's a change that goes over him. He says, okay, seriously. And he drops the kind of haughty attitude to some degree. He says, okay, seriously, I'm begging you. You have to give me something. I know there are a number of people that are going to be at this party, your Baron friend's celebration. I would very much like to be in the room with. I don't know anything about your palace district beyond your golden helms are not the ones keeping the doors closed. That says to me something major. He kind of waves it away. I have no information on that. I told you true. I only arrived in town merely hours before I sent you the message yesterday. I simply haven't had enough time, and again, my network, since the establishment of the Thoros'l law, has been a good deal lessened than it previously was. There, you have it. You have it out of me. My secret's laid bare. I am simply not the player in this city as I once was.
And what about the dreams? And I'll look directly at Carrot.
Partic stares at you for a moment, sees that you're looking at Carrot. He kind of closes his eyes. I haven't experienced anything. Carrot says, and he kind of turns and looks at Carrot, and it gives him almost a sympathetic look. Carrot says he has been having a considerably difficult time sleeping since we returned. Dreams, awful, terrible dreams. Both nights that we've stayed here. Would you care to elaborate further? Carrot kind of looks at him, looks at you, kind of shakes his head a bit, reaches up and grabs a hold of a medallion that you've seen around his neck before. Make a religion check if you or a history check if you like, or if you'd like to recognize it.
Both the same. Go with religion. 14.
14. Yeah, you've seen this before. He is and you, as you see him kind of pull it out, it's been months since you saw him the last time, but you do recall. Oh, right, yeah, this guy is a traveling priest of Tymora, and that's the medallion that he's got around his neck, the coin of Tymora.
If you don't mind telling me what you saw in your dream, Garrett, I know sometimes they're difficult.
He kind of looks at Partic again, and there's a look on his face that says, please don't make me do this. Partic just kind of closes his eyes, takes a drink of his ale, kind of settles back. Carrot sighs. It was him. And he's holding his mug kind of between his hands, and he's kind of looking down into the mug, and see him almost age like a day as he's just sitting there. His face gets tired and lined and worn and wearied. I saw my friend dead on the ground, surrounded in flame. And I think it was here. Not here, he says, and gestures to the room. But here. Make me a history check, real quick.
Sure. 17.
You will recall that in a previous encounter with the golden coins, that Pardik, when fighting on your side against some invaders on his ship, I don't know if you specifically recall this, but there was a battle on his ship. Some monstrous creatures attempted to invade the ship and take it over. And Pardik in the battle was entirely fearless. In fact, he came out of his cabin naked as the day he was born and dove into the fray, swords flashing. Yeah. He took a lot of damage through that fight. Like he fought brilliantly, but the amount of damage that he withstood during that, including from your group, because of some poorly timed or some poorly placed spells, should have killed him twice over. And you weren't exactly certain how, but after the battle was over, he was very, very adamant that he had to get below decks, and whenever he did, he discovered Carrot in a locked room down below decks, completely cut off from the battle, but very, very badly wounded and nearly dead from what looked like some of the same wounds that he had taken. He kind of, as you're recalling this, you realize that you and Carrot are sharing this memory as you are, he's looking into your eyes. First time he's made direct eye contact with you. He says, 25 years. That doesn't happen. That can't happen. And he goes silent, and he looks down into his cup again, takes a big drink, looks away, kind of blinks away what looks like actually might be tears, and looks away, takes another long pull from his drink, and kind of sits back in his chair. Pardik, in a very rare show of what looks like sympathy, kind of reaches over and puts a hand on his shoulder and kind of gives it a squeeze. Carrot and I have a very unique relationship. To see him so unnerved, well, it's a difficult thing. All the more reason to be gone from the city as soon as possible. You say that this is affecting others. The fact that you knew about it, or that you intimated that you might be familiar with it, suggests that you know something about this. Do we have cause? We have cause for alarm?
Probably.
All the more reason to be done with the city as soon as possible. Unless he doesn't smile, but the look on his face is that kind of searching. Is that enough?
The Baron's party is tomorrow at sunset. I may be able to get you an invitation, but I think you might owe me if I do. Nothing big. Just a small favor.
It seems I may never find myself out of your debt. One ear. He lets his hand on Carrot's shoulder fall down to his belt, where he's got a familiar sword strapped to his left side. And kind of it gives you a very pointed look. I suppose you can add it to my tab.
Nod. Now, does Carrot, whenever I say I can get him an invitation, is Carrot like freaking out? Like he does not want to be here, does he?
He seems to be kind of off. Like his gaze is really far away. And he seems to be kind of off in another world, just kind of drinking and trying not to pay any further attention to the conversation.
I'll stand up at that, and I'll say, as I do so, I'll send word to Eldrick and see if I can get you and Carrot invite. I just make sure you have appropriate clothing. I guess I was told to do the same.
He laughs very long and loud, and he stands to his feet as well. Gives you a hard slug on the shoulder, gentlemanly, but just a little bit harder than it probably needed to be. That sense of humor is coming along quite well, Elf. I have to admit, I never would have expected it. Then I suppose we shall see you at sunset.
I'll have the invitation sent here, unless there's somewhere else.
There is the small matter of this case. Can I tempt you? He purses his lips. Looks at you one more time.
I just give him a flat stare, and then start to walk out.
Oh, well. You turn around, and as you do, the door to the Dusty Duchess opens, and a somewhat haggard tired-looking young woman kind of shuffles in, kind of under kind of a cloak, not up covering her head. Her head is like kind of wrapped up in a scarf. You've never seen her before, at least as far as you know, but she comes into the door, sees you immediately, kind of freezes, and kind of gives you a little like a little bobbing little bow, and my pardon, my lord, and skirts around the side of you and heads across the room to the stairway going up into the apartments above.
Does she have red hair?
She does not.
Just asking.
No, she's kind of like a mousy brown.
Okay. All right.
You hear the dwarf behind the bar grumble something in her direction, and she returns a phrase or something like that. They start conversation. He starts grumbling at her. She starts grumbling back. But she doesn't stop. She just continues on up, and in short order disappears up the stairs.
What does he say to her? Anything important?
It's like, where the hell have you been, Mira? You were supposed to be here on shift an hour ago. Rava, come on. It's. I got here as soon as I could. I was just trying to help, and by that time, she's moved on past, and it's low unless you're actively listening. There's not much else that you catch.
Yeah, that's good enough. Well, I'll unless party wants to talk some more, I'll peace out and head back to the Bloodstone Arms.
Yeah, he's already sat back down. Is you notice as you go get to the door and turn around and pull it open and glance back, he's got his hand back on Carrot's shoulder, and it's just kind of rocking him in his chair a little bit. And then you're back out in the night.
All right, Bloodstone Arms, and then I'll send messages once I get there.
Great.
All right, a courier and messenger.
Yes,
Messages
a messenger.
via messenger. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so that covers Thoros'l. It'll get Thoros'l back to the Bloodstone Arms after midnight, and carry him into the wee hours of the morning. Sprout, you were wrapping up a late dinner, and we're just kind of walking through the town with Muckleberry, just taking a walk to get some fresh air. Anything in particular that you're looking to do tonight?
Not really. And I don't know that I was going with Muckleberry, was I?
I thought you said that he could come along if he wanted to, but that you didn't really care one way or the other.
I didn't really care one way or the other, but I was under the impression that he was still, only into the first 3 plates of his dinner.
That's probably true. Oh.
It doesn't matter either way. I'm just trying to get some fresh air, and the last thing I remember is I see dead people everywhere, and I don't know that they're dead.
Yeah, you are. So you spend a few hours just kind of walking in through the streets of the city. You notice that there's a bit more of a chill in the air tonight than there was the previous, as it's starting to approach winter. At this latitude, winter comes a little earlier, and you're in the middle of October, effectively. So it's starting to get a little bit of a chill. Nothing major. But yeah, so that pretty much covered you. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't somewhere specific that you were looking to go.
I don't think so. Did I ever get my my dress outfit for said?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, you have it. You just haven't had the opportunity to actually wear it yet.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got it. That was all.
Okay. Then we will go back to Oakheart, where Eldrick is making his way back to his room, or has returned to the safety of his room, in search of a specific list that was left for him by Master Durbin Holy.
Yes.
So once again, at the end of the day, it is nearing midnight, or if it hasn't passed midnight already, it's getting pretty close. Your father's steward has promised that he will make sure that your mother makes it to her bed and that she's taken care of, and that he has set up something for the 3 of you to discuss your briefing first thing tomorrow morning. All that really remains for you to do this evening, apart from if you wanted to check in on Makaria again, or Makaria and Makaria, it was to check out this list. And this specifically was a list of servants in Oakheart Manor that were in the employ of Oakheart, your mother and father, on or around the time of your, we'll say, event 13 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So of the people, so there's a list of a dozen people that are all listed. So there are 4 women and 8 men that are on this list. Names that you don't recognize specifically. Various titles, as in like their jobs within the manor. 4 of them were guards. 1 was a stableman. 1 was a groundsman. 1 was a cook. And 1 was a one of the men was what's the eighth man? A laborer, or a handyman, basically. And then 4 maids, effectively. 3 maids, and 1 woman that is simply listed as assistant. All 12 of them also have, pardon me, dates of their departure from your family service that were sometime within within 3 weeks to 2 years of that specific date. All 12 of them who are listed as the duty roster for that day, the active duty for that particular day, were all listed as having left your family service. And there's a brief description of the, if there was a specific reason that they left, or what the date that they left. Holy keeps very immaculate records of everything.
Oh boy!
But
you said I don't recognize any of the names.
You don't recognize any of the names.
2 years, I would have only been 8 when the latest of them left.
Correct.
Well, that's unfortunate. I was waiting for Jim Bob to be on the list, who's literally sitting outside my door right now.
Make me an intelligence check.
One moment while I actually get on something to roll dice here real quick. Passwords.
In the meantime, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nothing. I'm just making a joke. Ignore me.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for Souls to figure out how to roll dice again, Makaria and Makaria. So just to kind of catch you up, since you didn't make it last time, Makaria left the room shortly before the previous session's ending with Madeline, after Madeline had an emotional reaction to the unveiling of a particular painting. A painting Makaria then accidentally destroyed. The other painting, the one with the city of Heliogabalus under a shroud of green flame and a shining figure standing amidst it all on the balcony of the Bloodstone Palace, is in your possession, in your room. The 2 of you are now in your room. We'll say it's, again, also close to midnight. Eldrick had charged you with, if it was possible, to look again at this painting and see if there's anything that you could find out about it, regarding the arcane auras on it, or the what you had previously discovered as what seemed to be some kind of arcane scroll work or script work painted into the painting itself. Is there anything in particular that you're... number one, are you doing that? Do you care that Eldrick asked you to do it?
Not really.
I didn't think so.
That seems about right.
So more than likely, I would fall asleep.
Okay. Easy enough.
And then, wake up and probably do a quick detect magic again, just to go, yep, still there.
Okay. Good to know. Then we will...
I will instruct Makaria to stay awake.
Okay.
While I sleep, just in case, for some reason, the painting is linked in some way that we just can't figure out.
Okay.
To dreams or something.
Okay. Good to know. And we'll slide right past your evening then, since it's going to be potentially relatively uneventful. And we'll go back to Eldrick. I assume now you figured out how to do dice.
Dice are back on the table.
Intelligence check.
It is straight intelligence. All right.
Straight intelligence check.
I got a 5.
Yeah.
2
okay.
plus 3.
Then
just
maybe it's the lateness of the hour. Maybe it's the fact that you've already had so many shocks to your system today. There's so much going on the day today that you're just tired and words start blurring as you're looking at this list, and you think maybe I'll just look at it again tomorrow. But nothing additional really sticks out to you.
Gotcha. Quick question. Eldrick has no idea, because he wasn't there for the conversation with the guards, that other people in the city are having these dreams, right? As far as he's concerned, it's just the people in the manor. That's,
well, considering that you have spent almost your entire time since returning to Heliogabalus within Oakheart, yeah, you really haven't seen anything else outside of the manor.
All right, well, then I'm not smart enough to make any decisions about that, and I will go to sleep.
Okay.
Wait. No. First, I am going to detect magic on the note that I'm currently holding.
Okay. You just cast detect magic on them and look over the note?
Yep. Something, in Patrie, keep me and save me from dark spells, yada yada.
You detect no magical auras on the piece of paper or the piece of parchment in your hand.
Do I detect any in my room anywhere?
Beyond what is usually there? No. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Makaria, you did let go the private sanctum spell, correct?
Yeah, okay. I had to in order for all of the other stuff to work.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. All right.
Well, I'm going to sleep. Sleep time. Sleep will happen.
Great. Then Eldrick's in bed. Makaria's in bed. Sprout is out on a walkabout. Thoros'l is
Australian.
doing his thing. We'll go back to Alanere. Alanere. It is a very short flight for you. If you're looking to, when we left you off last time, you had just made the decision that you were going to take off toward Bloodstone City, which is not far, no more than maybe 10 or 12 miles away from your grove. You were going to seek the queen herself at the palace at Bloodstone City. Is that still correct?
I thought, and I may have been wrong, but I thought I'd heard that basically she spent time at the tree. And so my plan was to stay at the grove for the night and basically be at the tree like.
That's right.
At dawn.
That's right. Okay, yeah. Well, the tree is in the courtyard, the central courtyard of the palace. So
yes,
we're both right. We understood it differently. Okay, but you were going to stay in the grove overnight and get some rest, and then take off early enough to arrive at the tree by dawn. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so then, last thing, I guess, I will ask, does anybody else have anything specific that they want to accomplish before we say, flash to morning, or cut to morning? Beyond what we've already talked about, Thoros'l's got some letters to send. Sprout's just doing his kind of walk. Otherwise, I'm going to assume at some point everyone finds their way back to a bed and tries to get some additional rest. I see Vamp wants to say something.
No, I'm just waiting for the long rest so I can press some buttons.
Oh.
No, you're not. You're waiting for the nightmares to start.
Yeah, after I send that messenger, as soon as I get back to the Bloodstone Arms, I'll have a messenger sent immediately to Oakheart. Rush finest ink and parchment that I can buy on the Baron's dime, and then I'll hit the stack. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay, then we will flash to morning. everyone will have the benefit of a long rest if you hadn't already. Fortunately for Makaria and Eldrick, your dreams this evening are not troubled, or if they were, you do not remember. The first person that will likely be up and on the move will then be Alanere, as he wants to take off toward the Bloodstone City and the old palace at Bloodstone City and the grotto of the White Tree of Bloodstone. I assume, are you doing this via a flight form?
Yes. I'll turn into a bird and make my way there.
All right. Are your companions coming with you? They had offered. At least, your two companions, Alfandaline and Musa, were offering to come with you.
I will actually take them up on that offer to come with me.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay, so then the three of you together assume a form. Each of you assume the form of a bird, and you wing your way toward the city itself. Like I said, to start this with, it doesn't take very long at all. It's only maybe 10 or 12 miles from your current position at the Grove, and you can make that, in fairly short order, as the crow flies, as it were. You find as the sun begins to rise, you can see the golden leaves and the white bark of the great tree intermingled in between kind of the column work and the buildings that make up the palace itself. Very few other people have the ability to just fly into the central courtyard of the palace of Bloodstone the way that you do. But you are not surprised whenever you arrive there, and whenever the light begins to fall, as the sun rises, you see a familiar figure, dressed only in a white robe, a auburn fall of hair down her shoulders, as she kneels before the white tree. You find, in fact, it is, or it at least appears to be, the Queen of Bloodstone, Christine Tranth Dragonsbane. How do you approach?
I will kind of approach and almost kind of maybe do a circle or two over top the tree, enough to almost kind of get her attention before flying down and landing on the ground, maybe about 6 feet away.
Okay. Your companions follow your lead, and they do the same, and they just follow you, and they touch down behind you, but they don't immediately begin to change back. They stay in their small bird forms, but they do land on the ground near where you touch down. As you do land, Christine is getting it to her feet, and turns in your direction, a serene look of calm and the hint of a smile on her face. Are you returning to human or elven or?
Yes, I will return to my the human form.
Okay. As you do so, she walks up to you, and as you return to your full human Ather Verkine form, she holds her arms out at either sides as though to offer you an embrace.
And I will take it and return a hug.
She gives you a short appropriate hug. He said, "At last you've returned. It has been...
I have.
It has been some time. Tell me, what transpires?"
Well, first I must say it warms my heart to actually see you alive.
She smiles. She says, "I intended to ask. I've heard through Quillen recently some disturbing talk regarding you. I understand you have not only just returned from your quest, but that you've been in Heliogabalus."
That is correct.
"We should speak." She motions to Alfandeline and Musa. Said, "Friends, please be at your ease, but Ather and I need to have a private conversation." She says, if you please, my friend." Moves to walk further beneath the tree, just to step away from your two companions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll follow her.
She, after walks to the other side of the tree, essentially just putting the large white barked bough of the great tree between you and the other two. Says, I dislike secrecy, especially among friends, but what I have heard recently has been disturbing, and something tells me that what you have brought is for my ears only. Yes?
Very much so.
Well, please, tell me the whole story. Leave nothing out.
Well, I guess before I can really start there, I need to ask, what was the last conversation you and I had?
Before you left?
Before I left where?
She kind of gives you kind of like a sideways look, and then seeing that you're serious, she kind of nods. When last you and I spoke, we were in the Tellerth Grove. We had recently honored your companions, and you informed me of your intention to accompany the Baron Oaks on a quest to the west.
Okay.
Does this satisfy you?
Yes, it does. So we did go on our quest, and it ended up out of character. Refresh my mind. Was that before we ended up going to the astral plane, or was that after? Or
it was after.
We were going.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that was after we'd gotten back from that.
It was just. So the only thing that you've done since the last time you were in, well, if she is to be believed, she's talking about since you left her in the Grove in Tellerth, which is where you had the meeting, the midnight meeting between you, Quillen, Mauricio, the Canars, Eldrick, and Thoros'l, where Eldrick was named Baron of Morov. The only thing that you've done since then was go west to Thoros'l's village and then into the Underdark.
Okay.
And back. Yes.
So, okay. So I will kind of relay the story, or regale her with the tale of how we went west to Thoros'l's homeland. which happened to be close to where an artifact that we were searching for, and about our adventures of heading to the Underdark, and basically of the whole, what we encountered down there, the eventual confrontation between like the demons and Thoros'l, and how we managed to basically scrape through there. And then kind of the plans of, hey, they were attempting to merge the ethereal plane with our plane. And we kind of put the halt to that.
She looks very passive, very calm through this, and as though she is listening to your every word and just attempting to digest. You will notice that the last time you told this story, you'll recall the last time you told this story, she was very agitated, very distracted, and it was in her chambers in Heliogabalus.
Yeah.
4 days ago.
Yes.
But what she believes, or what she told you she believes, is that when you left for Thoros'l's village was a month ago today. So she says that basically you haven't seen her or spoken to her in a month.
Yeah. And then I'll explain, it's like, yes, and then as soon as we managed to retrieve the artifact, stop Thoros'l and her plans, and we got back to Heliogabalus. This was, I would say, roughly 4 days ago, maybe 5.
Yeah.
At that point, I went to the palace there in Heliogabalus to see if you were there, to more or less report in. And you were there. At least someone I at the time, thought was you. Looked exactly like you. Spoke to me as a friend as soon as I came up. Although I did catch her in the middle of some relations with some smaller statured man I did not recognize.
Her, make me an insight check.
All right. Go. Normal insight. Only a 12.
Her posture changes entirely whenever you talk about how you met with her at the palace. Her eyes go hard. Her body language says, well, it's very clear, angry, a little defensive. And then whenever you mention the smaller statured man, first she kind of turns her nose up, like almost moves to turn away from you, but then just kind of deflates a little and looks sad. But she doesn't interrupt you or anything. It's just very, very subtle changes in her body language as you are telling this part of the story that you pick up.
And so then, basically, maybe a day ago, maybe a day and a half, I don't know. Between the nightmares and everything else, it's hard to keep track of time anymore. I had gotten an animal messenger from, thought was you, and it said the palace had been compromised and to meet in a tavern in the Shadow Gap. And when I arrived there, I found what looked very much like you was cut up, bleeding profusely, and basically, when I went to rush to who I thought was your aide, I basically encountered a Draugg ambush. And specifically for me, had ale that was laced with, out of character, I forget the name of that stone.
Helmstone.
Helmstone, that's it. That was laced with Helmstone. And I was basically said to take a drink or they would kill you. So I took a drink, but I immediately tasted the Helmstone before I swallowed and was able to disguise kind of spitting it out. And they wanted me specifically. They wanted to capture me. And basically when things kind of, they shackled me, I kind of figured at that point I didn't want to find out what was going to happen, so I made my escape. And I had thought on my way out, I had heard what sounded like a death scream, and immediately went to go get help to come back and try and do something, or whatever could be done. But at that point, the army had already, I guess, arrived on scene. And unbeknownst to me, they were investigating, what was it, the Wardens of the White Tree? And I was not even aware of their presence before then.
She kind of raises a hand to her chin, and so she's thinking. Her eyes are... As you stop talking, she kind of breaks eye contact with you, and she kind of closes her eyes for a second. Lets out a really, really long sigh. And when she opens her eyes again, her gaze is far away. She kind of holds up a hand to bid you stop. And she just steps forward again and wraps you up in a hug. Where to begin? So much. I'm glad you are well. I'm glad you are alive.
Likewise.
Going forward, we speak here. Only here. This is how you will know. She kind of holds you, grabs you by the shoulders and holds you kind of back at arm's length and looks you directly in the eyes. Said, This is so deep now. This means that there are more than one. And this means that it is as we suspected all along. This is the Drow. This is what they do. I tried to... She takes a kind of a steadying breath, the anger flashing very clearly on her face as she's at frustration. We need to have a more protracted conversation. There's more that you must know. But thank you for coming to me with this directly. Thank you for everything that you've suffered. I'm so sorry that this has happened, that you've been dragged into this. You are among the very, very few people remaining in this kingdom that I can trust with what I am about to tell you. You already know that we have suspected for months now. She kind of pauses for a moment and makes to look almost as though she's just looking around to make sure that nobody else is listening in. For months now, my husband... She kind of stops, and her eyes kind of get a little glassy for a second. My husband does not rule. He has been replaced. This you already know.
Yes.
The creatures in league with these drow, they are insidious. They are very proficient at doing this kind of work, replacing people. They have means of infiltrating even your thoughts and your mind. They can steal your thoughts and use them against you. I think that you've likely now experienced this, which means that there are more than one of these creatures in our kingdom. They are attempting to infiltrate at the highest level, and they continue to infiltrate. I think the creature that you spoke to, that you believed was me, was one of these. Another. At least two, perhaps more. It will be difficult to trust anyone. Now there's just clearly a lot going on. Like, there's a lot of stress in her posture. She's just kind of holding on to you, and rather than kind of holding you in, kind of holding you at arm's length to talk to you, it feels more and more as she continues, as she's holding on to you to keep herself from just collapsing. If you found another, and they have replaced me, and they believe that they can do so openly, we may not have the opportunity to speak again. It is only a matter of time before they make a move and do to me, or attempt to do to me, whatever they've done with Gareth, and replace me entirely. If you have... Go ahead.
That is also a fear of mine.
That is why I say we meet here. Only here. But there's more. You know of Emmeline.
Yes.
And Dugald. The seven. All of the seven now, except perhaps for Hannibal, are gone. The man you saw... She stops for a second and she closes her eyes, and she seems to be kind of psyching herself up a bit, or trying to get herself back under control. The man you described, that you saw with me in the palace, Celadon, was found dead in the palace 3-4 days ago. She's referring to Celadon Kearney, the leader of the intelligence network in Bloodstone.
Oh.
His cousin Reardon has been missing for, well, we believe he's been missing for almost as long as Gareth. Olwen, she just kind of shakes her head. It's only me left. Me and Hannibal, but we've not heard from Hannibal in more than a year. Again, she's referring to Hannibal Cain, the last of the companions of Gareth, who all of these names that she's talking about are people that Alanere Ather knows, or at least knows of by reputation. They're the larger than life. They're the Justice League in Damara at Bloodstone. They're the seven adventuring companions who went up against the Witch King Zhengi and won, and liberated the country of Damara, and paved the way for the Kingdom of Bloodstone. And now she's saying that all of them except for two, herself and Hannibal Cain, who is a monk who rarely spends any of his time in the last 13 years. He's very rarely ever been sighted in the Bloodstone Kingdom. Only those survive. You know Emmeline is dead.
Yes.
There was a state funeral for Dougal. But she's saying now that Celadon was found dead in the palace 4 days ago, which would coincide with your encounter with Christine there. And Reardon, his cousin, Olwen forest friend, the Duke of Saravia, or the Baron of Saravia, all of them gone. It's likely only a matter of time, and if they had taken you, that they took you suggests that, well, now they know. They know that we're onto them. And now it's only a matter of time. I don't know what to do, Ather. I don't know who to trust. Anyone could be with them. Anyone could be replaced by them. It's just, and Gareth, the man pretending to be Gareth, has mandated that we stay here until the ceremony next month. He watches me, has people watching me all the time. I can't get away.
Well, I can only advise this. Have an exit plan if things go awry. Have a way out, knowing that you may not be able to return until, or if we can ever unveil this plot and stop it.
I fear it's too late for that now. If they know about you, if they know that we know, if I make any move, or if you make any move, or anyone associated with me makes any move at all now against them, I fear for what they're going to do to Gareth. I have to believe that he's still alive, but I can't imagine it'll be for much longer. But I haven't the slightest idea where to look. Now we know Drougg are involved, and so that opens some avenues. She starts pacing, like she lets her arms fall. She starts pacing around, her hand kind of in her chin, tears beginning to start to form. They're just... But who to trust? Quillen, for now, I suppose. Is all lost, Ather? Is there any way that we survive this?
Well, I think we have to adapt our strategy and become like them. And by that, I mean they're coming at us sideways in ways that we didn't even see coming. I think we need to do the same. They're going after people who are trusted, who are heroes of this land, people that would be obvious threats to them. What about, is there anyone you know that is, I would say, not so trustworthy, not in positions, maybe exiled members of Nightsong that people don't know of, or anyone that hasn't had anything to do with the government of Damar for a long time that might be able to be utilized.
She raises a hand to the back of her head and stares off, thinking, only... There may be some. There may be a few. Spy Song. I can't imagine without Celadon and Reardon. There's so few members that I would trust, and without them, the organization is blind. They haven't. They're in shambles. We don't know how many have been replaced, how many perhaps turned. The only people I trust implicitly besides you are in the ground, or soon will be. Except for Kane. And we have no way of contacting him, no way of knowing even where he is. Him, I am certain that they could never turn. His loyalty to Gareth is absolute. I seriously doubt that they could take him or to replace him. No one can pretend to be that obstinate. I don't know. I'll have to think on this.
Do you know where his last known location was?
She kind of puts her hands in her head. I sent my husband off with him a year ago. And neither came back. I don't doubt he's still out there somewhere, but I would have trusted Emmeline to find him. When you return to the city, I'm going to ask that you speak with a man named Sebastian Killian. He is a marshal, and you may actually already know of him. You mentioned before a brief association with the Wardens of the White Tree.
Yes.
There is he is the marshal. I don't know him well, but Gareth trusted him. And that is not something that is easily achieved. If you can confirm that he is still himself, he hasn't been replaced, he's a good start. But I don't know. I don't know if... Is it... It's hard to even think at this point that there is a possibility of victory here. We have to find Gareth. If Gareth still lives, we have to find him. We have to return him. We have to expose this Draugg threat. But I don't even know where to start, Ather.
Well, luckily assuming they're still themselves, the Wardens are now very much aware that Drows are operating in Heliogopolis. I let them know that much.
Well, thank the Tree Father for you. if I just need to think. This information, this tale that you have told, this is all so much. I'll send a message to Quillen and let him know that. Well, let him know that I know. It's been difficult. It's been difficult to get messages out. I've been watched, as I mentioned before. But if you can liaise through Quillen, she just kind of holds up her hands. Be quick.
Where do you know where Quillen is at?
You know Quillen. He's the old he's the Archmage for the nation of Damara now. He currently resides in a tower at the palace in Heliogabalus.
Okay.
You also know that he's on the guest list for tonight.
Ah. I'll say, actually, you don't need to send a message to him. I will actually be at the same place as him tonight.
That's right. Eldrick's party. Will you convey to him our deepest regrets that we were unable to join him?
I will do so.
She pauses for a moment and looks at you, looks at you very, very seriously. Do you trust him?
Eldrick?
Do you trust our new Baron of Morov?
I do.
Then utilize him if you can. There are so few people we can trust now, Ather. If you have found one in him, then I trust you. Use him. Whatever capacity you deem fit. I trust in you.
Well, now that I know much more about the situation, at least I have a way where I think I might be able to find where Gareth is at. I gotta capture one of these drow and make him talk.
She kind of gives you a sad smile and a little bit of a nod. I should go. There are already going to be questions. Send Alfandaline and Musa. She kind of, as way of a dismissal. I'd like to see them before. Will you be headed back to the city?
I will be. I was hoping to be able to do some devotions here at the tree.
Oh, take all the time that you need. You know, this is your home as much as it is mine. Just be quick. If you think that you could find him, please do it quickly.
I would do everything in my power.
She gives you another hug.
And I'll kind of you'd like to return, a little bit of a squeeze hug.
She looks up at the tree. May he watch over you. And fold you in his branches. all of us.
And may the Earth Mother steady your feet beneath you.
She gives you another sad smile and backs away. A little bow.
All right. I'll give her a little bow too, and I will head back and basically send the other two druids kind of she wants to see you.
Sure.
And then basically do my devotions.
Great. Okay, well, that, with all that being told, we've still got a few more minutes before end of this session. I would like to...
That was heavy, man. Somebody
yeah,
just like
that's rough.
fire or something.
I kind of need to shake a little bit of that off.
That was deep.
Yeah, that getting into the headspace of someone who like Queen Christine is feeling very backed into a corner, finding it very hard to look on the bright side, very desperate. That
very hopeless.
That's rough. That's hard to do. Hard to feel. Okay. Speaking of hopeless, Eldrick, the next morning, within as you are coming down to join your mother for breakfast and talk business to some degree over the morning, you receive a number of different pieces of mail. Most of them are responses from various invitees. There's a letter from Lord Rangrim of Impilter, the Lord of Imfrist II that you invited. I realize in our previous correspondence I said it was Halenbrar, but it was not. You haven't
Gotcha.
It was actually Rangrim. Halenbrar was not present in the capital when you were there the last time. That was my mistake. It was a momentary misstep, but it was Lord Rangrim.
I kind of figured, being that we knew what Hellenbrar was doing.
Yeah.
At that time frame.
Yeah, that was just off the dome, whoops, kind of moment. But it was in fact Lord Rangrim. He's a knight, a paladin of Impilter, or a paladin of Ilmater as well. And he was the first of the lords to accept your story effectively whenever you were brought on trial before them. But he sends a message back saying that he is unfortunately unable to attend as requested, but obviously he sends his congratulations and gives a cursory invitation to whenever you're traveling, or if ever you find yourself in Lyrabar in the near future, to send him a messenger, and he would be happy to host you for a dinner. There is also a message from there's another name I need. Shit, I don't have it. A high-ranking member of the Gold Helms, not the chief magistrate, but a high-ranking member, a watch captain in the Golden Helms.
Gotcha.
Saying that they had been given the task of finding out the current residence, if within the city of Heliogabalus, of one Sergeant William Preston, and unfortunately it was determined through a great deal of effort that the young Sergeant Preston was listed MIA back in about 6 months ago, after being given his first mission with the Bloodstone Army. Not specifically not KIA, but he was listed as MIA. and they don't have a current address for him as they don't currently know where he is. Missing, presumed dead.
Interesting. That's bad. Well, Eldrick's not going to like that. Whoever he's sitting with will definitely see him get a little emotional at that one.
There is a letter. There are a number of letters that are coming in that are essentially RSVPs, including one from that is addressed or is signed Diego Carn Esteban, saying that his lord, Lord Mauricio Esteban, unfortunately will not be able to attend as he is unavoidably detained in Oakland, his new lordship of Oakland, but that his consort and husband Diego will be attending in his stead. And there's a P.S. and perhaps a few surprises as well.
Oh, he's one of the Sunites, right?
Correct. Yes. That is actually addressed from Praca, in Thoros'l, which is where the House of Rubies, Mauricio's temple, is being built. There is an RSVP, a positive RSVP, from most of the other invitees, not specifically people that you asked for, but people that your mother invited. The list of people that I gave to you offline, each of the people who are on that list have RSVP'd, and are there's various variations on the theme that they are delighted to be considered. They can't wait to celebrate with you, so on and so forth.
Excellent. I don't suppose there's numerous mentions of the young pup and such, based on the fact that I'm a third the age of most of the guests.
While that is true, there are no outward mentions of you being considerably younger, or them referring to you as, quote, the young pup, in their acceptances of your invitation.
As a reminder for everybody on the stream, Eldrick Oks is a 19-year-old, possibly 20 now, because we have been traveling for a little bit, Baron. So, most of the other people coming are like 60.
But I think, oh, and then there is the fanciest piece of mail that you get on this morning comes from the Bloodstone Arms. It's from Thoros'l, and is letting you know that he has extended an invitation to two other friends, Mr. Pardic Talendar and his companion Carrot.
Oh boy. Is Durbin Holy in earshot?
If you want him to be, he is.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to talk to him.
Okay.
Mom's not a big fan of Talendar's, if I remember correctly.
That is true. That is very correct.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so is there anything in particular that you want to cover as part of the morning briefing? So for people who don't know, I had a conversation with Souls offline. He asked for a conversation effectively with Madeline and with Durbin to talk about all the different people that are coming tonight and getting information on them. I gave him a 12-page long dossier on all those people, and gave him lots of information. But if there's any additional information or any other questions that you would like to ask while you have their attention, now's the time. Now's a good time.
I have 16 questions, and none of them are short questions. So
Okay, so maybe we don't do that on stream. Maybe that's something we handle.
maybe I just send you those. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me one of them?
Yes. Sylvia Praca, Baroness of Ostel.
Yes.
Does Madeline have any concept of what direction Sylvia has been trying to take the barony?
So Sylvia was firmly in the Demian Ree camp politically.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as I don't know. Well,
like, so one of the Thane lords wants to like corner the market in shipping, and one of the other guys is like totally about civic duty and all that crap. Like, is she just like chilling as a rich bitch, or is she looking to do something with her barony, right? Like, or is she just like chilling out until Gareth dies and hoping that her son becomes king or something?
Well, she's unmarried, and as far as Madeline knows, she doesn't have any children. She's been the Baroness for, well, since the dissolution of the old monarchy and the eradication of the Praca family of Ostel. She was placed in control of Ostel by Zhengi, similar to how Demian Ree was placed in control of Morov. She took the name Praca. There's no evidence that she was part of that family prior to her emergence on the scene. She has a reputation of being not well liked by her people. I take that back. Not well liked by the common people in Ostel. She is absolutely adored, Madeline will say, by the nobility, by the gentry in Ostel.
Now, is that okay? The nobility of Ostel. What do the rest of the nobility of the country think of her?
Madeline specifically says that she's a little bit of a snake. She tries to put it kindly, but it boils down to it. She thinks she's a bit of a snake. She's in it for herself. She's very selfish, but Madeline finds it very difficult to argue with her results. Ostel struggled after the war, though it never was actually touched by the war. The war never made it as far south as Ostel. It struggled after the war and during the occupation because it's one of the largest agricultural areas, and it was taxed or tributed, I guess, very, very heavily during those times because it was one of the richer baronies. The fortunes of Ostel have recovered significantly and very, very quickly since the end of the war. And Ostel is actually becoming, Praca specifically, is becoming the kind of the center of arts and learning within the Bloodstone Kingdom. If Heliogabalus is the center of trade, by far, arts, learning, history, craftsmanship, all of those types of things, Praca is the #1 city in the kingdom for those types of things, and that's all under Sylvia's rule. She's doubled down hard on those types of things since she took office. And in a year,
hey man, you gotta win the culture war somehow, I guess.
In a year, Ostel will be opening up the very first university in the region. It's called the Praca University, and it'll be basically the first ever central location, central place for learning and the share of knowledge in the entire region. So she doesn't like her personally.
Smart lady.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Madeline doesn't like her personally. She thinks she's, a little backbiting, kind of a bitch. But it's hard to argue with how effective she's been in her role. She's been good for Thoros'l, or rather, she's been good for Praka.
So, side question: why didn't Gareth remove her when he became king?
That is the question.
Because there's a whole boat ton of people in here where he basically carved off a big section of the eastern barony or duchy, and gave these people thanedoms that he just created out of nowhere.
Right.
So he obviously was, mucking with who was in charge of what. But her, and there's another guy somewhere that doesn't really matter right now. Her, why is she still in charge of that barony?
Largely,
especially if she was appointed specifically by Zengi.
Yeah, well, largely because, largely political reasons. Gareth probably felt, and this is all speculation on Madeline's part, because nobody really knows why. Demian Rhee had a claim to the bloodline of the Bloodfeathers dynasty. He may have been a puppet placed by the Witch King, but he actually had a claim, and he was a member of an old family. So there's a good reason that he was not removed from office whenever when Gareth took over. There's not really a good, solid, guaranteed. This is the absolute reason why he didn't throw Sylvia out on her ears. But the speculation is that he would have lost the entire gentry of Thoros'l, and that would have been a very difficult economic blow for the country.
Gotcha. Most likely, Thoros'l would have been an open revolt then. Gotcha. Or at least Cold War kind of situation.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then if Thoros'l, then probably Morov, maybe Polton. It would have been a whole political bloodbath. Gareth has made some. Madeline will suggest Gareth has made some very curious political moves like that since coming into the throne. She's long ago given up trying to understand why the man does what he does. And there's a little bit more than a little bit of exasperation in her voice whenever she says that.
That seems about right.
Okay, so it is really close.
I'll email you the rest.
Yeah, I'll take the rest of those offline. We'll cover it. We can role play some of that out during the Baron Mitzvah. But what I want next, since we're right at 10 o'clock, I'm going to go around the table and I want you guys to let me know if there's anything that you need to do between where you are right now. Some of you are just waking up. Some of you have been up for a little bit. Alanere, you're on your way back to Heliogabalus. Is there anything that you need or want to do prior to showing up at Oakhart, either directly at or sometime before or even after? Hell, I don't know. It's up to you. Sunset this evening on the 20th of Eliasis, Marpanoth. Marpanoth is the month. The 20th at the beginning of the Baron Mitzvah. Is there anything that you need or want to happen for your character between where you are right now and 6 o'clock tonight when the party begins? We'll start with Alanere.
Yes. Alanere wants to have a conversation with the Thoros'l before the Baron Mitzvah.
Good. Sprout.
The only thing that I've got is the conversation with Alanere in regards to what you and I had previously discussed, and I hadn't gotten any information from that, so I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that. But I don't know that necessarily needs to happen before the Bar Mitzvah.
Okay.
The Baron Mitzvah.
Makaria, anything in particular? You're just hanging
Nope.
out until the party happens?
Getting dressed and getting ready.
Getting ready is right. Thoros'l.
Nothing particular. Just getting ready to put on my fancy new clothing before going. But I'll talk to Alanere for sure.
Okay. And
I mean-
Eldrick.
Oh man. I mean, I'm sure the answer is yes. I got a big bunch of questions to ask you, and depending on those, it's going to depend on whether I do anything else. At the moment, I can't think of anything particularly intelligent I could do, especially because it sounds like my druid's going to go talk to my enforcer instead of me. So I'm not even going to know at the party anything more than I already know. Now, I already know that, like, some people might not be themselves, but I'm not going to know that we have a pandemic of doppelgangers.
That's
Oh
the
my god,
stream title, Pandemic of Doppelgangers.
dude, we got. Oh my god, got
Sure, like
doppelganger fever all up in here.
You done anything to replace your hammer yet?
I have a warhammer that I purchased, and I have full plate mail on back order at John Babadoo's armorsmith. I have no idea which armorsmith. I just picked one.
That will likely be available. It will probably be delivered to the house tonight so that you are able to be resplendent.
Oh no! Oh no! That means I need it. Oh god!
You gotta say, if
We're
you
gonna
guys haven't
fight in
figured
the
out
friggin'
it's-
party. Oh shit!
what side quest you want to take care of, because once you go past this point, it advances the story and you don't get to go back.
Yep.
Are
Oh
you
my
sure you
God.
want to begin this part of the adventure? Because you will not be able to go back and complete side quests.
Roll for initiative.
We're never gonna find all those paintings. We're never gonna get to question what happened at the insane asylum. Oh my god! I don't even. Oh my god! No, actually, that's all probably not true, because after this evening, Helio's probably gonna be an open revolt against the Bloodstone Kingdom.
Whatever's left of it.
Whoa, that's
Burn
quite
it
a
all.
statement.
Nope,
You
I
guys-
100% know what's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna show up. Somebody's gonna be like, "The king is not the king," and then somebody else is gonna be like, "King of the Middle North, Eldrick Oks," and I'll be like, "Yeah, dog, that sounds great."
You're talking about
Nothing
do
can
it.
go wrong with this plan.
Eldrick,
Actually, I won't go along with it because I don't know that the queen thinks that the king is a complete doubleganger. I just know that she thinks he's suspect. I don't have the enhanced information with which my druid had. I know nothing, Jon Snow.
so I'm hearing that Eldrick begins a coup as part of this this party that's coming up tonight. This is his coming out party in a lot of different ways.
I mean, that's the only way we save Queen Christine, right? Oh my goodness.
He's like, how many territories can I mind control if I use multiple stones?
Ooh.
I have 2 stones, and the answer to your question is 3. Three baronies.
All right, kids, that is going to be it for tonight. A lot of heavy information pulled out this evening. Hope everybody had a great time. I know I did. We will hopefully pick up with Baron Mitzvah Part 1 next week.
Yeah.
It's finally here. I'm so excited. If for whatever reason that we have to postpone or cancel next Tuesday, I will let everybody know through the Twitter or X, I guess, whatever. The Discord information is showing up in the chat right now. You can get real-time alerts for all the stuff that's going on on stream, or just talk to some really awesome people who are followers of the Discord, followers of the stream. Get all of the information on what we do week to week, all the VODs, everything comes through the Discord. You can also look at our YouTube for VOD information. That link is now up in the chat as well. If there's any that's got all of our ARAM Apocalypse stuff. It's got all of our Bloodstone stuff. It's even got our League of Lyrics videos, our very very short series of videos where our League of Legends champions cover very short snippets of popular songs. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, stick to or look at our Discord for all of that information. Check out. You got a few on the backlog for the League of Lyrics. That is true. You're very correct about that, Gish. Working on that. It's more coming. Watch that space for lots more cool stuff. Check the Discord for all of our stream information, live alerts, all that good stuff. Otherwise, we will see you back here on Thursday of this week for ARAM Apocalypse and some high-quality, low to mid-tier League of Legends ARAM gameplay. And then again on Saturday for Summoner's Saturday, where the dads take on the Rift. If not,
Hell yes.
if that's not your thing, then get your asses back here on Tuesday for Baron Mitzvah Part 1. Until then, guys, have a great week. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Adios.
Right.